Hello, Jen here with a layout for the Wild Whisper design team. I'm going to use this Creative Scrapbooker magazine sketch. That is their July Sketchy Challenge sketch. And I pulled out my Out and About collection, and I'm just going to go through all of the cards, sort of remind myself of what I have. I've been hoarding this collection. I love it so much. And I know that the ladies made it for me. Like, they were clearly sitting down, designing, going, this is a collection that Jen needs because she's going on a big trip, and then they made it for me. No, probably not, but it feels that way. Oh, I love that matte paper. I'm so excited to use it. I have to say, being in Canada, it sometimes is really sad whenever companies come out with maps, and it's always of the United States. And I know you European ladies and all around the world, you feel this too. So I love that that map is Canada. Anyways, tangents. I feel like this is going to be full of tangents, so I'll just go ahead and apologize ahead of time. So I took that sketch and I drew it out myself just so that I could kind of have my own way of following it. I always do that with sketches. I generally like to take a sketch and follow it sort of as closely as possible, but then obviously putting my own touch into it. And I feel like by sketching it out myself, I end up just naturally highlighting certain features of the sketch that I think really stand out to me and that I want to emphasize. And you know, sometimes I totally forget elements of the sketch because they just didn't really stand out to me. And so in that way, I'm interpreting the sketch with my own unique style. So I don't have 4 square photos, so I'm going to go with these 2 4x6 photos. And I think that this works just as well. Whenever you see a sketch that has that, always keep in mind that you can change up the photos. I don't generally print my photos as squares. I usually, especially for big trips and stuff like this, I batch print all of my photos. And so to make that as simple as possible, I go with standard sizes. So 4x6, 4x3. I use Picasa to edit my photos, and so I'll do a lot of collages, but I usually print them all in the 4x6. So I tend to have really teeny tiny photos or 4x6. So, you know, definitely use whatever you have available. Don't feel like you have to go out and reprint photos just to follow a sketch. I also, whenever I do big trips like that, I usually don't do any crazy editing or do any pictures in black and white unless there's one that really stands out to me. I feel like if I take too much time editing the 3,000 photos that I want to print from my trip, I just won't get that done. I mean, it's just not going to happen. So, yeah, so back to the layout. You can see here I matted those photos on some black, and then I matted them again on that orange paper. I really liked that orange paper because there are some circles in the sketch, and so I felt like that was one way to sort of carry that, that theme or that shape into the layout, was by having those circles. And then I felt, because I didn't have a square, that it just seemed like there was a lot more white space or sort of open space on my layout than in that sketch. And so my way to sort of remedy that was that I took the leftover orange paper and I put the border at that top and left-hand side of the layout. Obviously, I didn't think of this ahead of time, or I would have matted my photos in the center of that orange paper, and then I could have had a mat all the way around. But it was sort of an afterthought once I had put that matting down and realized there was just, for me anyways, there was so much black on that top right, or that top left-hand side. That could just be my fear of white space though, so you know, you might have looked at it and thought it looked totally fine. Anyways, I think it's a fun element. It brings in that orange, and I really don't scrap with orange that often, so I thought it was kind of fun. I picked the orange, obviously because of the circles, but also because I felt like it was really complimentary to the photos. These photos are of the Badlands as we were driving from Teddy Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota into Montana, and I mean the views are just absolutely stunning, and the rocks are all these beautiful shades of orange and beige and kind of earthy colors. And then because orange is the complementary color to blue, it really makes those blue skies pop out even more. So I wanted to make sure I used that orange. And then I picked 3 other patterns. One is the back side of the orange paper. That's that sort of lime green with the blue diamonds. And then I didn't want to have patterns that you had to sort of struggle to take in what they were. So I went with the dot pattern and the stripes. They're very simple patterns, and so even though they kind of look busy, they don't really compete with the photos. And there just happens to be this gorgeous globe paper, and that is where I got my circular elements. So in the sketch, there were some circles kind of as the embellishment along the paper strips, and so I just cut out these circles. It works out perfectly because they match and coordinate. They have that kind of sketchy feel to them, and I get to do some stamping. Those white circles are the perfect sizes to fit the little car, so I thought that that would be a good one to stamp because obviously we were on a road trip. And then also there is a teeny tiny little sort of sketch circle and a bigger size one, and the teeny tiny one fits into those teeny tiny white circles I cut out. So there's one car. These are just my Tim Holtz Distress oxides, and they happen to match the blues in this collection really well, so I pulled those out to use. And then here you can see there's that little sketchy circle, so I did one in each color, and just if I used the more teal color car, I used the blue circle, and vice versa. And then here, just to add a little bit of sort of that lime color, I don't really have lime as a stamp, or as an ink, but that fossilized amber worked really well. It's not really the same color, but it feels the same. So I just dragged the circles along there, and yeah, they look nice. They kind of pop up off of those patterns a little bit better. So I'll go ahead and stick those down. Then I just went to get some pop dots for my white circles here, just to add a little bit of dimension. The layout itself is very simple, and I like that because the photos obviously are really detailed, and you want them to be the focus. So you really want people to be paying attention to how gorgeous that scenery is. Obviously these photos would look really well if you blew them up too, but again, I don't normally do that. So it's nice to have a simple sketch to highlight busy photos, but you also want to add those fun, interesting details. So pop dots are a great way to add dimension and kind of, I don't know, just create some shadows and a little bit of texture and fun. And then I also have the wood veneer here. I'm going to use that as my main title. And then I will do a little bit of journaling underneath, just like in the sketch. And then I love that card that said take the scenic route so much that I just wanted to make sure I got that on there. So it works pretty good, I think, over on the side here. It definitely balances it out much better. And then just because I felt like I needed to add some extra wood veneer, I went into my stash and I found these cute little circles that have hearts etched into them, and so I'm going to put one in each of those clusters. And I also remembered that I have some flair and some puffy stickers and stuff from Evalicious, and they have a travel theme to them as well. So I found this one flare that I'll put down in the bottom, And then I couldn't find another flare that matched, but I pulled out the puppy stickers and I found a little one. I think it says Let's Go. And I'm going to put that in that top cluster. I got that from Peachy Cheap. It's such a cute collection. And then as my finishing touch, since I'm not going to add any mixed media or splatters or anything like that, I thought I would throw on some sequins, and I love these Spiegel Mom Scraps exclusive sequins that match the Wild Whimsy collection. I thought that that dark navy blue one would really add a nice sort of dark contrast within my clusters, so I scattered them around, and that is it. That's my layout. Nice and simple. This is a great sketch to really have fun and play with, and of course this collection is gorgeous. So check out the link down below for Wild Whisper Designs. Make sure you look at this collection and all of their others. You are definitely going to want to use my discount code DTGen for 10% off. And until next time, happy scrapping. Thanks. Bye.